Hello and welcome to Bergen Stages Television, the entertainment magazine here at Bergen Community College. I'm Jim Bumgardner, your host, and today we have a very special show. It's special because not only is the person here, Alexander Diaz, our alumni, but he also is from one of the area theaters. So welcome to the show, Alex.
Thank you, Jim.
It's great to have you.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
You have such a journey about being here. I know that we first met each other, I think at New Milford High School you were directing. So just to kind of give us your background to the county and how we got here today.
Yeah, well, I moved from early in my life, right? My parents moved to New Milford, and that was our introduction into Bergen County.
From where?
Union City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we still have very close ties with Union City. My mother's a school principal there. My sister's a vice principal there. My brother still lives there. So we still have very close, my grandparents are there. But then we moved to New Milford, and I developed this love for theater. And we did How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying at New Milford High School, and that was in 1999. And I was in 8th grade.
Oh my God.
What was really cool though was that 8th grade was in the high school.
Oh, they already moved you in at that
Right,
point.
right. So, but the only extracurricular activity as an 8th grader that you could do was the musical. So that was like, okay, great, let me do something. So I did the musical, I auditioned, and I remember the director saying, "Oh, where do you sing?" I said, in the shower, because I had no idea, I had no concept
Your formal
of it.
training.
Right, there was none of that, right? And then, so I got cast in the musical, I was in the ensemble, and then I just got the bug throughout my years in high school. Then I came to Bergen for a semester, and that semester I didn't take any theater classes or anything. And it showed because then I kind of was like, I don't want to be in school right now. I want to kind of go out and audition. I wanted to try to make some gigs happen. So I did. I left Bergen right out of high school. I just left Bergen, and I worked for a year trying to audition, trying to get educational spots, trying to get a commercial, a TV show, a theater gig. And when you're that young, but you think that you're really good.
Come on, world.
yeah, you feel invincible.
Rent is on Broadway, they must want me.
They
yeah?
must want me. But it wasn't the case. So
But you had a great resume. Obviously, you did musicals since 8th grade. Did you
Yeah.
do something in the summer as well, or did you just stick with just the
Yeah, so I worked at Paper Mill. Well, I did the Paper Mill Playhouse Conservatory, and that was in 2003. So the summer right out of high school, that's what really gave me
could
that
certainly
push.
make you feel,
That I
ready.
really want, and I was involved and immersed with all of these artists, young artists that wanted to do exactly what I was doing, and I wanted to do exactly what they were doing. So I said, "This is a no-brainer. Let me go for it." Yeah, again, it's exactly, and that's the cool thing, though. It's like you live and you learn, and you experience things, and you realize, wait, I got to take a step back a little bit and say, I want to go back to school. So I worked at a financial firm for a little bit, which was really out there and out of
Completely
my
opposite from theater.
theater, finance, yeah, artist, not artist, right? But he was my dad's best friend, the boss that I worked for, and he's still a very, very close friend of mine, and my family's. And he said to me when I wanted to move up in that company, because then again, you start working, you start making money, you're like, oh, this is pretty cool, I like this. So I said, I'd love to move up, and he said, well, go back to school. I said, okay, no problem. I came back to Bergen. That's when I had you as a teacher.
Introduction to theater.
That's it. I was inspired. That's it. I was done from that point forward. I said to myself, if I'm going to go back to school, I'm going to go back to school for something that I want to do. Not something that is just going to pay bills, is going to do this and that. There's nothing wrong with it, but that's not what I wanted to do at the time.
Right.
So your class, not only the intro to theater, but we also had the oral interpretation class, which was the following semester, which really led in perfectly. And we were doing monologues, and we were doing scene work. We were working with the body. We were working with our mouths. We were working with pronunciation and diction, where intro to theater gave us that foundation that we needed, and we built. I remember that final project. We had to make the
show.
theater, put the theater. And then you said, "Where's the director every opening night?" And that stuck with me because I went on to direct, and I still direct. And every opening night, I'm outside in the lobby. I cannot be inside the show.
So worthless.
It kills me, and I'm there hours and hours on end for rehearsals. And then opening night comes around, I'm like, oh God, I can't do this.
It's giving birth. It's totally giving birth.
It is.
So you've took some course. So I'm so thrilled that it was. I helped to inspire you to get you back on track with that. So you continued here. You didn't get a degree here. You went on to
No. So I came here for three semesters. And during that time, I was just really focused on one teacher I remember at Bergen telling me, and this was my speech teacher. His name was Steve Eccles.
Yes, Mike Eccles.
Mike Eccles. And he had said that Bergen is a great place because you come in to leave. I was like, oh, yes, right? So I came in and I was focused on not pursuing the degree, but I was focused on getting the credits that I needed, which was, you can't do that with another university. You can't just like try out college, right? It costs you an arm and a leg. And Bergen allowed us to really say, okay, I want to find my own niche, I want to find where I'm going, and in the meantime, I'm going to take these courses that I know are going to transfer to these other colleges. And that's what I started doing. So I started just taking the prereqs.
That you know you needed that would transfer great for you.
And they all did. And I actually ended up going to the University of the Arts. But before I auditioned, I saw you. I had not rehearsed or done my monologue with anybody. And I was going to audition the next day. And I came to you. I was like, can I try my monologue on you? You said, sure, no problem. You gave me some adjustments. The next day, I went in to the audition.
Blew them away.
And I did, and it was awesome. There's a little speed bump though that still happened while I was getting into University of the Arts, and that was for musical theater. I had to be accepted for the fall, but I was auditioning to go into the winter.
Oh, okay.
Right,
which they do allow, but they wouldn't allow you into the musical theater program.
Correct. So I had to then choose another major to go in because I really wanted to go. I wanted to be in Philly. I wanted to be immersed in that scene.
Perfect school.
Everything
about the program was great.
Everything. Actually, one of the only programs in the nation that was being offered in those concentrations. There's no other program. Now there are.
But at the time,
but University of the Arts really pioneered this take on theater that said, okay, you can learn how to direct, stage manage, production manage, produce, and act. Oh, okay. Great.
That's what I want to do.
So I'll do it. And I was able to get in January for it. So January 2006, I got into it, and I was done by December 2008 at University of the Arts.
And did you transfer into the musical theater program, or did you stay in
I
this?
stayed. I stayed my path. I then was able to audition for musicals. I was able to audition for the plays. And how they did it was they would have general auditions once every semester. And then, so you would be cast, there were 8 shows going on in a semester, so you would be cast in one of those shows. Because the program was brand new, and I was also a male, and it's tough sometimes to have males come into it, and they need. We know how that is everywhere.
Definitely.
We always need males to be in it.
Right.
So I auditioned, and I got into a show, and I remember one of my friends who was an acting major was like, man, come on, man, you're taking my part from me. I didn't mean to. I just, I really wanted to act, and I just did it. So I did In the Boom Boom Room. Oh, yeah. Really dark. So that was completely, I went from doing Billy Bigelow in Carousel to...
Which is dark, but...
Which is dark, but a musical theater dark. Right. To In the Boom Boom Room, which was really dark.
What did you think of not singing? I mean, suddenly you're doing a show with...
Yeah, it was cool.
Oh, neat.
It was cool.
Because sometimes I can't wait to get to the song. I'll get them back to the song.
I know, and that's the thing with musicals, right? It's like I'll do the scenes, and then the song comes in, here I am, right? Which is great. But with the acting, I had to find different things going on inside. I had to really work off of the other acting. Not that you don't with musicals. But you do it more.
There's so much, it's going on.
Yeah.
And you've got a fabulous voice. I mean, you're such a wonderful singer, and I'm so privileged to have heard you sing. Is your training still in the shower, or did you continue to get? Could you get a musical theater voice coach at university?
I did. I did. So I studied with Reggie Pindell, and he was awesome. He was in the music department at University of the Arts. And funny enough, I had to pay separate from my tuition. I had to pay separate to take the voice lessons.
Because it was a part of your
because it was
program.
A part of my of the credits and of my program. But Reggie was this awesome operatic tenor. And he so my voice developed so much with him that I was able to keep pursuing musicals and musical theater well after college. I went on and I did the producers at the Walnut Street Theater. I was an understudy for Franz Liebken.
Wow. Yeah. While you were at school, or once
my
you got
last
out?
semester at school. I actually got in trouble for that. Yeah, because they don't want
you to
audition
do anything until you're done.
Yeah, so I actually remember sitting there with the dean of my school, and he's like, so, you did the show without letting me know about it, really? I was like, I'm so sorry, I was in the mix of it. They had called me to understudy this, and I said, sure. I mean, I don't see any time commitment being an issue. He goes, yes, well, I'm gonna have to reduce a letter grade from.
Get out.
So I in my Cuban way, I kind of just like looked at him and stood up. I said, listen, I'm a student that came to this school for theater management, for directing, for performance. I've got great grades. I'm always in class. And I'm doing something professionally. That should be something that's looked at in a positive light, not in a, I'm going to scold you
can
for
morph this
it,
your
right?
way.
Yeah,
You can totally morph that way.
He looked at me after, he goes, Mr. Diaz, you are correct. I will not take down a letter grade. I'll take it down half a letter grade. Yeah.
All right.
Charlie.
And did you get to go on at Walnut?
I didn't go on for the producers, but I was in State Fair with Mark Jacoby and Dee Hody, which they were awesome. And I was also an understudy for that, but I was an extra, so I got to perform. Extras.
So you were always there performing,
ready
to go on.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
that was a cool experience.
What a great.
And I went
theater
on
that
one
is.
night for one of the guys, and I got to work with Mark Jacoby. And so Mark Jacoby looks at me, and I had my beard at the time. But State Fair is set in the early part of the century,
Right.
And we are
Farmers.
farmers, and we're at a state fair. So no beards. And then at one point he looks at me in the middle of the scene. He goes, "Well, I don't remember there were beards back then." I was like,
And you were like,
yeah. I was like, hey, let me get down.
And so you finished at the university, and then you're at Bergen PAC now, the Performing Arts School. What happened?
So in between, like every other college student that leaves college, I was actually getting out in 2008. Right? So that was like right in the middle of the recession. Everything was hitting hard. James Lapine came to, he wrote Into the Woods, and he was our keynote speaker at our graduation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was so cool because he wrote a play as his speech for the graduation.
Really?
Yeah. And he said he wrote it on the plane on the way over. And it was literally about politicians making a choice between should the arts stay alive in schools and should they not. And the way he said it was a mother and a son. The mother was the politician. The son really wanted to go to University of the Arts. So it was a great way to introduce us now into the world that we're going into, because there were so many things going on, the market crashing with just jobs in general not happening, and now we're going into jobs in the arts. Right? Everybody there in that audience, all the graduates, we were like, oh man, this is a scary time to be there.
It's the real world, and it's not. 2008 was not. We need to take a quick break here, but just what a fascinating story. What a journey you've been on in such a short time. So we're going to take a short break. Alexander Diaz is our guest today, talking about his journey to getting to Bergen PAC, and so we'll come right back after the break and talk about the Performing Arts School at PAC. Thanks. This is great. This is really cool.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
French fries. Finding best potatoes.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
From intimate black box performances in the Ender Hall Lab Theater to full-scale musical productions in the Anna Maria Saccone Theater, come to Bergen Community College at 400 Paramus Road in Paramus, New Jersey. For tickets or more information, call the box office at 201-447-7428 or visit us at tickets.bergen.edu. We'll be seeing you on Bergen stages.
also spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Hi, and welcome back to Bergen Stages Television. I'm Jim Baumgartner, your host. Today we have a very, very special guest with us, Alexander Diaz, who's with the Bergen PAC Performing Arts School. And we've been talking about your life of getting to where you are at this point. We left off with James Lapine speaking at the graduation as an inspirational or a depression.
Yeah,
just kind of like, oh, where am I getting into this business?
Bittersweet.
So did you leave and go into finance, back to finance?
No. Definitely not in 2008.
No, right. Nobody wanted to see anybody with finance, right?
But one thing that did stick out to me that he said was, I encourage you all to fail. Because once you fail, you will realize what success is. And impressionable 21-year-old kid sitting there and listening to a gentleman who wrote one of the best and most beautiful musicals ever written, and that's what he said.
Gave you permission.
Gave us permission to fall on our face and say, do it, it's fine. You're gonna pick yourself back up and you're gonna move forward. And so I went out of, left school in 2008, was done, graduated, had my BFA. And I was about a year where I was like doing some odd jobs, production, stage managing, doing some lighting, doing some sound work.
All around or just in
all
the area?
around, all around,
Okay.
all around. I was all over the state, really. I was doing a lot of stuff. Went back to my roots in Union City. They had just opened up the Union City High School, which is this beautiful, brand new high school where Roosevelt Stadium used to be.
Yes,
So if you come right up on Kennedy, right? The stadium now is on top. It's on the roof of the actual high school. So which is really, really neat. And they built a beautiful 1,200-seat theater inside that school. And I was like, oh, this is great. I can kind of like manage this place. I can do. So I started getting.
And they were looking.
They were looking. Yeah. And I had really great relationships with a lot of people down in Union City. And they said, yeah, look, we're going to have these types of performances. We're going to have these types of performances. I said, great. I can do all that. I can run your lights. I can run your sound. So for about a year, I was doing that. I was like running this, running that, and I was performing too. I was doing some concerts. I did my own concert at one point. For the veterans, I had a lot of friends who went to Iraq.
I remember you doing this, yes.
So I did Alexander Diaz in concert, and I had a few people join me on stage. And then at the end of it, I had the color guard come out with the American flag, and all the veterans that were in, and I'm getting goosebumps, all the veterans that were in the audience, they all stood as they would when the flag is out, and they just saluted the flag while I sang Anthem from Chess. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I still see the vision of that, and it was beautiful.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful moment, and that again propelled. These are the types of things in your life, right, that start to propel you into different, not directions, but push you.
But trying,
yeah. And so I went to New Milford High School, went back to my high school where I graduated, and I directed Working, the musical Working. And again, this was in 2008, 2009, when the economy was. And so I thought, what a better show to do
than talking about people just want to make a life.
That's it. They're talking about work.
And they've got such a great program over at New Milford. They really put everybody, sponsors it. Really,
we got some pretty good water, I think.
And great talent. Very good water.
In the well
there.
Rob McClure, who's a Broadway star. Good friend. He's
performing at PAC soon.
He's coming in March. He's coming soon. Jonathan Silver, who's out in Philadelphia directing, doing a lot of great things. Joshua Dela Cruz, who's also he's in Aladdin. He's understudying Aladdin.
Oh, wow.
We have a lot of talent that came out of New Milford.
Alumni.
The alumni. Yeah. And when we did Working, all of the alumni, we always come back and we do a big fundraiser benefit. You've been to a few of them. And we give back and we raise a few bucks for the program. And we come in as directors, we'll come in as stage managers. Rob comes in as a lighting designer. He takes time off from his Broadway show to come in and do stuff.
Come back to the roots. It's about
There's something really unique about New Milford and the theater program at New Milford that really works. But when I did Working there, I was able to cast 40 kids in the show, and each of them had a role. And each of their roles was an actual working role. And they understood the concept of work. through participating in the musical, which is great. The following year, I wanted to do something a little more edgy, so I decided to do Rent. And I was actually met with a lot of like resistance from it from some of the
What's
townspeople.
the subject matter? You know, just
Yeah,
they're not ready.
yeah.
Their high school student should learn that.
Yeah, but to my point was, they're learning things now that you don't want them to learn. So why not make it out, put it out there, and allow them to learn this through music and song and dance. And actually, a lot of those kids have gone on to pursue theater or have gone into counseling, like they wanted to do some doctor work. So like it really
Because of
did
this
make,
event.
it made an impact. But well, I'll segue into the pack with this
Yeah,
because at the time, David Rodriguez, who's now the executive producer at NJ Pack, he was our executive director at Bergen Pack, and he came to see the show. He was invited by the superintendent, Mike Polizzi. And Mike said, I got this really talented guy here. I really want you to meet him. Come see the show. It's on me. So David came. This is the executive director of Bergen Pack. So, of course, I'm like, oh,
Coming to see
it's got to be
working.
really good. It's got to be really good. Right?
Oh, this is
This
Rent.
is Rent.
This is Rent.
This is Rent, yeah. And so he came, he sat, he watched the show. At intermission, I went and I introduced myself, and he gave me his card. He said, we should work together. I said, great, thanks, I'll call you tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
So I actually, the next day was closing night, so I called him on the following Monday. And I set up a meeting, and I went and I met with him, and he's like, look, we're looking for a director of education, somebody that could really build these programs that we want.
And this is from scratch.
From scratch.
Yeah, you didn't have the program
scratch.
yet at all. Even the
Nothing.
facility wasn't.
Nothing. Yeah. We had we were using dressing rooms in the theater.
In the theater
We
itself.
were using the orchestra pit. We have a cabaret room, really nice offset in the lobby. We were using the lobby. We have an art gallery on the second floor. We were using that.
Just all these little
Everywhere.
spaces you could.
I remember
possibly
having
put a
Children of
piano
Eden.
in.
Yeah. You know, move the keyboard around. We had Children of Eden auditions in the administrative office. Oh wow. Yeah, so that's how all over we were, but still very well contained and very well organized. So he goes through the board. I get hired. I come on board. We did have a dance program, a very great dance program, and it's still a really great dance program. So I wanted to build around it, try to complement that dance program.
And that was done in the studio next door where the Black Box is now?
Where the Black Box currently lives used to be a dance studio, and that was Beyond Dance. And then we also have on the third floor of the theater, we have a performance space, a small studio.
Yeah.
That now we use as a green room. So yeah, it's what you got to do.
Thousands of people in the show, cast of thousands. You need.
You need to have it. So I then built the Beyond Theater, Beyond Music. We added a Music Speaks program, which is an early childhood music program, Mommy and Me. Then I started going into schools, and that became really like, not the bread and butter, but what we wanted to do for our mission. It was like, how can we provide?
Doing, working with the students in the school?
Yeah,
Okay.
So we would send teaching artists, teacher residencies into the schools. We would then also send assembly programs that the schools wanted to have, and anti-bullying, interactive dance shows, science shows. And I would book those shows.
And get the
send
kids
them
up to be a
schools.
part of it, what's happening.
Yeah, so we had different ways of doing it. So we started with New Milford, because that was my route.
Yeah.
But then we got a grant from J.P. Morgan Chase, so they no longer do the grants, but we got a grant from them to do a school in Patterson. So we started in one school in Patterson. We're currently in 5 schools in Patterson.
Wow, look at you.
We started with the one New Milford. We're currently in 42 schools within 30 school districts right now.
Within just a couple.
Yeah, 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
And you have the new theater.
In addition, we have, so our home, our hub, it was the former Bennett Studios, which is literally right down the street from the theater. And we have a great connection still where we have fiber optic links that were set up by the Bennetts to record live on stage at the Pack. So you could have the band set up on stage at the Pack, and then we record from our studio.
Isn't that awesome?
But we have
so awesome.
2 dance studios, 2 beautiful dance studios, an acting studio. We have 2 private music studios in there. We have our Mommy and Me studio, beautiful kitchen lounge area for the parents to hang out in, parking
With
galore.
ample parking.
Yeah, there's a lot of parking, which is huge.
And then, so the school, the classes go on all year.
Yep.
And so there's always offered, and you don't have to come in a semester. You can come into a dance class
you can
along
take
the way there.
Yep.
And I'll have them put on the screen a way to get in touch with you, a way to get in touch with the school about the performing arts school. And then I know in the summer you do kind of a big old event.
We do.
Huge musical.
Our in June, we always end it. We have our dance show at the end of it. We have our theater showcase. So these are all like the culminating events from
classes
September.
get to
So they get to perform. And that's really cool for the students. They want to be able to use our black box, to use our stage, and that's why they come to our school. And not, in addition to that, our teachers are all top of the line. They're all working professionals. They all work in the city. They're on Broadway. They come in, I think Mondays is a good day for them because it's when the industry night and they're done, they're off, right? But yeah, we do a big summer musical, and that I started when I came on board a few years ago, and that was in that directing mode. And I was like, we're going to do a musical. And so we send out auditions to almost anybody in the state that wants to come and audition. And this year we're doing Les Mis, and it's...
and so do they take classes if they're in this musical, or the whole idea is just put this musical on?
Yeah, so basically we rehearse. How it's been done in the past is we rehearse 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 10 o'clock at night. And that's Monday through Friday, and then Saturdays 10 to 6.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so they really get, but we do it in 4 weeks.
Oh, well, that makes sense. So it's almost like a professional theater company.
It's
That's
exactly
about what
like
you
it.
do.
So I figured if they're able to get the type of training and they're able to put that type of work into it in these amount of hours, then they're going to be able to propel themselves out of here and jump into a professional gig and know that this is the time that it takes to do it. It's not, because a lot of times you're in your high school musical and you have the rehearsals, rightfully so, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
Right.
And then you get used to that. For 2 months.
Yeah.
This is like boom, 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 we bang it out, and then we go. So yeah, and it's always a great show.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so what's the future? Where are you thinking the Performing Arts School's going to go? What are some of your visions at this point? Because you've done such great stuff, it's just more of like, get on track.
I have a very solid team. Bergen Pack, we're really, really tight-knit family. So we're able to bounce ideas off of each other. We're able to really collaborate and say, okay, we want to make this work, we want to make this work. So the growth, really more growth. We want to get to full capacity in all of our classes, which we still have room to do.
And we're talking about trying to get some academic credit if they wanted to get college credit. That sort of thing.
So the next steps are strategic partnerships so that we can really have students who want to pursue the arts as their career use Bergen Pack as that jump-off point so that they can say, okay, we have a union stage crew, awesome guys. You can shadow them, you can work with them, you can get
learn
credit,
from the best.
and that's it. So if you're hands-on, and that's been my approach always, be hands-on with everything. That way you really fully understand. You could open up a book and you can see and you can look through it and you can read it and you can study it. But until you get on that stage and until you see what the fly rail really looks like,
what those lights
until
really
you
do.
really hold the light, you're not going to know how to focus it. So there's technical theater shadowing that we've been offering for a long time.
Right.
That's available for a lot of students.
Even sound engineering, I know that you've
Sound
been talking about
engineering,
that.
lighting engineering. We have top-of-the-line equipment at the Bergen Pack, which we've been working really, really hard to get fundraising so that we can make sure that we have this. But we also have top-of-the-line acts that come through there.
You
got
do.
Ringo Starr.
Yeah,
right.
right.
We have a lot of good stuff that goes on. In addition to that, we have finance that you can certainly pursue an internship in finance for credit. Teaching artist, stage crew, building sets, building the show.
Kind of what you did at the university, you kind of brought to there, that you can learn a little bit of everything so that you can go off to your school or whether and become that. So I guess, boy, it's just such great stuff that you do there. Are you continuing to go into area schools with the programs, the bully plays and things like that?
Yeah. We're actually developing further the bullying show that we've been working with. She's a good friend of mine. She wrote this show. She's been in a bunch of schools. They all love it. But now we want to do it where we can actually have the show, but before the show starts, a couple of days of workshops with the schools, and then the show, and then a couple days workshops after.
To talk about it. Yeah. Sometimes this is brought to you and then you leave and it's like,
I
need dialogue. I need to have a conversation.
We want
about this.
sustainability with it. We want to be able to have the kids say, you know what, I remember everything about it, not just the show. I remember everything.
I can't believe our time's up. I just love having you here. Your success story is just so wonderful, and so inspiring. I know to students and also to people who know you and are just so thrilled with what you're doing. And best of luck over at PAC. We'll be over to see you this summer with the musical.
Thank you.
And I want to thank everybody for joining us with Bergen Stages Television. Please talk about Bergen PAC. Talk about the Performing Arts School. Alex Diaz, thank you so much, and thank you for watching.